we have a dramatic disclosure to make today. And viewers, what we are going to show you, and Times Now is the only channel to have accessed Sushant Singh Rajput's diary. Our reporter, those are the pages of that diary, excerpts from the diary. Our crime reporter, Priyank Tripathi, has broken another major exclusive. You will remember last week, he was successfully able to prove that diary entries of Sushant Singh Rajput had been torn. Now, he has brought out other aspects of the diaries. And what does this tell us? This tells us, viewers, these diaries tell us that Sushant Singh Rajput was certainly not an individual who had given up on life, who had reconciled to the fact that he was a quote-unquote failure, as he is being made out to be by a certain group of Bollywood and their supporters in the Maharashtra government. The Maharashtra government today has come out and said that, you see, Sushant Singh Rajput is a nobody, failed star. Never got the attention that he's getting today, so let's move on. I don't understand, they say, why we are obsessed with Sushant Singh Rajput. Where Sushant Singh Rajput epitomizes, viewers, today how the police, the system, can deny individuals justice, can actually turn the individual into really, the victim into really the deserving criminal. And an orchestrated campaign has been built around suggesting that Sushant Singh Rajput, failed actor, took his own life because his prospects had dwindled. Today, what I'm going to show you, viewers, page after page, will tell you that Sushant Singh Rajput had very systematically, very logically, rationally been charting his future. In 2020, in his diary, he had mentioned, under the heading entertainment, that is his future in entertainment, how he wanted to be someone taking grand steps towards Hollywood, how he wanted to build a bigger brand for himself in the Bollywood market. He had set for himself 3 areas of work. Number 1, on becoming even a bigger star than he is. Number 2, and you can see the middle column, diversifying into other businesses, which is, viewers, opening a production company to make his own film, documentaries, and other creative pursuits. And in that, he had talked about hiring a team. He had talked about, under production house, hiring the technical staff, and on the creative staff, on the creative side, a staff of writers, ideators. And on the extreme right, viewers, go back to the first graphic. On the extreme right, he wanted to set up a startup also. You can see in that column on the extreme right, in emergent technologies, AI, others that are in the future, virtual reality, etc., that will take a technological leap forward and bring quality entertainment in which he will play a vital role into our homes and into our lives. This is one plan. Let's look at the other pages of this diary that Priyank Tripathi has been able to bring together. The next immediate steps, he talks about deciding the name of his venture, fixing the stake and how much capital will be required, protecting his intellectual property, a legal strategy, and also assembling a legal term, identify the best foreign films and the writers so that he can build not just the library that he requires, but also, viewers, the technical staff, the creative staff. Let's move on to the next page. Look how systematic it is. Then, viewers, he looks at how to form that company, what is required, pick up the best talent from FTII. Ideas for first screening, execute, meet and lock the talent. Content generation, step 5. Step 4 is to look at IPs. What kind of IPs are required? What kind of shows are required? Intellectual property creation. Now, this is an individual who's thinking very clearly, should I get into films? Should I get into TV? Should I get into OTT? What kind of program should I be designing? In other words, what kind of intellectual property should I be designing to take to the market? It's a very rational business plan. Let's look at the next page. The next page looks at how the creative side is going to take off. So he is already now, viewers, beginning to talk about names, stakeholders, capital, IP protection of the content that he is going to be generating. The biggest writers around the world must be identified, brought, talked to, contracted. Identify FTII guys. As you know, it's a powerhouse of talent, viewers, great directors, writers. Some of our best stars have come out of FTII. Step 3, the screening process. Execute, form, rest of the team, screen these people out, find the best talent, ensure that that talent is sifted, interviewed, picked, and brought on board. Generating content is, again, of course, a very vital aspect. What kind of content? Comedy, action, thriller, drama, all of that, viewers. And then how to fund it. Because you can have all the dreams, but if you don't have the money, you can't start an enterprise. So he set himself a target of 50 crores fixed income. That is the asset he requires. He also wants to buy a flat in Los Angeles where he can go, base himself, and meet the foreign talent. So this man had a great ambition, had a great vision. Priyank Tripathi joins us. Priyank, this is certainly not a person who had given up on life.
Yes, certainly, Rahul, because during the course of our investigation and our coverage, every individual who was associated with Sushant's life have been talking about this particular point, that he was a go-getter. He used to strategize his points and he used to make his dreams come true. And while probing to that, I wanted to get into the noted fact, because many individuals in this case have also been lying in front of the TV screen. That's how we managed to get these documented facts, which certainly shows that Sushant Singh Rajput had set up his dream, but in between that a few people entered in his life, and after that everyone knows what happened. What also triggered our investigation, Rahul, is the pages of the missing of the diary which went missing, which is a part of the Mumbai Police investigation. But instead of that, Mumbai Police did not even bother to go into the detail and to know that how is it possible that every individual who had deposed before the Mumbai Police officials also kept on saying that it is not possible that Sushant would have ended his life.
Yes.
If this person had dreams, had his motto, he would have fulfilled it, and this can also be substantiated with these sort of
stay
evidences.
on with me, Priyank. Brilliant work once again, setting the national agenda. Every channel has picked up your story as usual, and I want to bring in Tehseen Poonawalla. What I can't understand, Mr. Poonawalla, is the following. You have had an immediate response from a cabal of Bollywood types who have said that he was suicidal. We always knew it. He had given up on life, was getting no offers. He was a suicide waiting to happen. So value judgment passed. Number 2, the Maharashtra government on day 1 said this is suicide. We don't need to go any further. Even today, Sharad Pawar on the 58th day has said suicide. The Mumbai Police has not even told the magistrate what they think, whether it's a suicide or not. This kind of detailed diary entries, plans exist, which show that Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput was certainly not contemplating an early end to his life. He was planning a long innings. So Tehseen Poonawalla, was it a mistake for the Maharashtra government, for others to jump to this conclusion, call it suicide, without really going through some of this?
First of all, Mr. Shivshankar, I don't know that now, even on news channels at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., we become clinical psychologists who know how people react psychologically, because that is a very specific field. But that's not the debate I want to get into. I want to explain a specific point. And I am saying this on record on behalf of everybody in the Maharashtra government who's of consequence, who I've spoken to. All aspects of Sushant Singh Rajput are being investigated. Now, there are 2 issues here. I sympathize with Mr. Rajput's father, who filed the FIR in Bihar. That's a zero FIR. We now legally understood that Bihar police has no jurisdiction. Therefore, they've said that the CBI should investigate it. My limited point to you, and this is where I'd like to end, why doesn't the Bihar government transfer the FIR to Maharashtra? Let Maharashtra investigate it, or let Maharashtra government decide whether CBI should investigate it or court to decide. That is it. One last point. When the Mumbai police has a very high conviction and case solving rate, certainly higher than CBI, why do you not trust Mumbai police? Do you not trust Mumbai police? Because I have seen the filth in the BJP abusing Hemant Karkare, my proud Mumbai police officer and my friend, and I've now seen them abusing Mumbai police. Why? That's my question to you.
Okay. Now, since you accuse the media of sitting in psychological evaluation, you have not talked about the hundreds of Bollywood personalities and, of course, the Maharashtra government that has deemed it a suicide, almost concluding that they were aware of his psychological condition. I find that quite strange that you don't apply that yardstick to some of those that you're close to. No, I can't understand that.
May I reply to that?
There is no reply.
I have a reply.
What is the reply? That those people had some special insight? That they were going through his psychological reports on day one, within minutes of him dying?
In 10 seconds.
Come on, Tehseen Poonawala, at least apply it logically. You know your point. You started by condemning the media for playing psychiatrist. No, first of all, let me just tell you, let me correct the impression that you're trying to create here.
Okay.
First of all, I have started by saying, I can't say what changed. I can't say if it's a suicide or it's murder or anything else. All I can say is on the back of what we are reading, and this is a 2020 diary, 2018 diary, 2017 diary, it talks about his approach to filming, etc. From 2017 onwards, the pages we have are talking about a pretty systematic individual who's charting a course for himself. He's certainly not seeing an end to his life. All I'm saying is that you people who have stood in judgment of Sushant Singh Rajput, who don't think he's an actor valuable enough to devote time to cover, you are the ones who've jumped to the conclusion, not us. You even concluded, and tell me where is the Mumbai Police's affidavit before the magistrate concluding anything?
Okay, so
in 2 days, 60 days would have passed. No, I've given you enough an opportunity, sir.
You've just had your own say. I would have taken 10 seconds to answer that question.
Okay, answer in 10 seconds.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Cut your nose to spite your face for another 10 seconds. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You may think you're
Go ahead.
You may think you're on some narcissist trip. Let me finish my point. Today, 6 years ago, Robin Williams died. Now, the limited point that I'm trying to make is this, that like you rightly pointed, Mumbai Police has not closed the investigation. Let the investigation close. Any loopholes, please feel free to be a psychologist or a judge at 8 p.m. I'm open to that.
I would have been very, very happy had you said that the Mumbai Police now needs to go back to some of the individuals who have proven to have been inconsistent. Re-examine them. You didn't say that. For all practical purposes, this investigation is in a limbo. It's not being investigated. There have been no fresh summons issued by the Mumbai Police to anybody. Because we know we have spoken to these individuals. Now, 1 minute. Let me bring in. 1 minute. Excuse me. Allow me, sir. Allow the others. I'm running out of time. A huge panel here. I want to bring in the BJP and Dr. Anand Ranganathan as well as Mr. Hegde. Very quickly, Shweta Shalini, what do you have to say today? Very quickly, I don't have time. 3 minutes on the show, please.
Rahul, I want to tell Tehseen Poonawala that he needs to go back and give this gyan to a lot of these of his netas who have actually declared on media, on print, that it was that Sushant was mentally unstable and that he was under mental conditions and that it was a suicide. Second, the diary and the pages that you see, I feel that somebody not only killed the boy, a young 34-year-old boy, but all his dreams as well. Somebody who's a diarist, and that's why a diary is called a personal diary, is very truthful to his diary. And these statements do not show suicidal tendencies at all.
Okay, well, that's...
man. He was goal-oriented.
That's the BJP's point of view. Mr. Hegde, very quickly, sir. Please respond. Have many people jumped to the conclusion of suicide too prematurely? It's a simple question, sir. Nothing much more.
No, it's not premature because the facts point is unknowingly to a suicide. The postmortem says so. The diary shows nothing. The child died in 2017. He had these plans. 3 years later, what the state of he also used that
Okay, a lot of disturbance on Mr. Hegre's line. But what he's saying essentially is there's nothing premature. The forensic report shows that it was suicide. Nothing else is untoward here. And he's adduced 2 other points which we sort of lost in the distorted din. But Dr. Anand Ranganathan, where do you come in? Do you believe there has been an abject denial of justice to the family by concluding things which quite frankly are beyond the realm of politicians and other Bollywood voyeurs?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Rahul. Having said that, can I quickly make 2 points? Number one, you see, I am not a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
Sure.
So to provide a counterpoint, it is entirely possible that he was in great spirits in 2017, not so in 2020. I am not saying that that is the case. Number two, you know, on the day of the tragic death, the narrative was so overwhelmingly that of suicide because of depression that even I was taken in. But even at that point of time, I said, knowing Sushant's brilliance, there is also a psychiatric term which is called existential depression. So maybe it was because of that. But now we know better. Secondly, which is very important, because of this peddled narrative of depression, I asked you this question, Rahul, a week ago. It is all the more perfidious that a journalist leaked the doctor-patient confidentiality, broke it, and leaked that thing. That should never have been done.
That should never have been done. I tend to agree with you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Yes, indeed, just to prove some basic political point, this was done. Not naming any journalists, it's not my style to do so, but I think most of our viewers know. Priyank Tripathi, very quickly, many people are saying here that the journalist in all of us has turned into Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to disregard that because quite clearly there are many Sherlock Holmes on this panel who have concluded suicide. But I want to ask you, has the Mumbai Police today actively pursued this investigation, or do you see this having hit some sort of a wall and it is now comatose?
See, Rahul, what I can tell you after being on the ground, that Mumbai Police has done nothing to investigate the story. And all those people who are raising question, we are not telling to hang any individual without any trial. All we are asking is first information report, which is called an FIR. If Mumbai Police would have filed an FIR and investigated the case, we would not have been in position to go into detail and running from pillar to post and trying to gather information. All we wanted in FIR, a fair probe. We are not saying that charge sheet that particular person, bring it to the trial, skip the process of trial and hang that person.
There you go. This is a professional opinion coming from a reporter who covers crime. An FIR should have at least by now been filed. Either which way, viewers. Either which way. And a report should have been handed to the magistrate. It's going to be 60 days, 2 months, since Sushant Singh Rajput's demise. We leave it at that. The news are with Navika Kumar.